What up, Facebook people and YouTube, since I'll probably put this video on YouTube and just put a link to it on Facebook. Long time no video for me. Had a lot going on, changing jobs, a lot of drama. Leave it at that. But finally settled in at Interstate. Loving it so far. It's my first week. I've been in my truck for 6 days, and I have 2,800 miles on it. That's a good week. Personally, I'm loving the change with Interstate from basically everything. Better pay, trucks that go quicker than at Schneider, and when you're paid per mile, speed of the truck matters. You can get more miles in a day, especially if you're like me, where you plan your trip down to the last 10 minutes possible on a regular basis. But loving it so far. This week went by really quick, actually. And yeah, I'm just kind of want to give an update, see how I'm doing. But I'm good, to be honest with you. I'm really loving Interstate. A couple stories. I talked to my dispatcher, who I'm with for my first 90 days here before I get someone more permanent. And he asked me what my home time expectation is. I told him, well, first off, I kind of want the last week of June off. There's a camp going on that week that I've helped out at ever since I graduated high school. And it's kind of, one of the highlights of the year for me. Is it possible to get that week off? And this is, a month into my employment, as far as my driving employment goes. And he said, sure, that's no problem. Are you okay staying out on the road until then? And told him, sure, no problem. I got, a little bit of credit card debt and whatnot to pay off. So the more I can stay out and make money, the better. So that's been no issue. And he's been very good, calling me on at least every other day. Kind of depends what run he has me on. If he doesn't need to call me, just seeing how I'm doing. I do need to call him just to make sure I'm doing everything right. There are these things that we have to send in all the time. They're called macros. Basically, it's like a pre-filled out message where I have to fill in the blanks specifically to what's going on now. And hauling temperature-controlled freight, I got to check the reefer unit, making sure the temperature is correct, and, send that in. Just got to make sure, I'm sending that in enough that he's satisfied. A couple messages have come across that people aren't scanning the stuff in correctly, so I need to kind of make sure that my GPS just fell. Make sure that I'm sending that stuff in correctly and that everything's good there, because that means money. So I kind of want it to be correct so I can get paid. Then also, unfortunately, hopefully there's no issue with me saying this on Facebook, but my great aunt in Tennessee passed away a few days ago. She's 97 or 98, and she's one of the relatives out there where I've always said if she passes away, I would like to go to her funeral. So I'm running low on hours. I only have 4 hours and 2 more minutes that I can drive today. Then I get a couple more back tomorrow. So I'm basically just due for a reset if boss wants to keep running me how hard he's been running me. So I called him and told him the situation, told him hey, I'm due for a reset. My great aunt just passed away. I'd like to go to her funeral. Is that cool if we make it work? And before I could even, stop, he's like, absolutely, go to her funeral, do what you got to do. When will you be back? And I told him the plan was, and the plan's changed a little bit, was to be back on Tuesday night, or Monday night. Fly out Sunday morning. The funeral itself is Monday afternoon, and then right after the funeral, back to the airport and come home. We're going to get back later than we anticipated, so I told him I'd be ready mid-morning on Tuesday, so I'll probably be more like afternoon on Tuesday. But then I'll get a reset, and it was really cool. He apologized, for the loss several times. I was very surprised that he was, that personal about it. And I knew I liked the guy pretty much right off the bat when he told me that he's a Orange County born and raised guy himself. But until he got into trucking, he relocated up to Tacoma, Washington. So he actually went to Newport Harbor High School back in the day. Wait, Newport Harbor or Huntington Beach? One of those. But he's from the area. He's familiar. He saw his family and whatnot down here. Um, he's just a good, cool guy. There's another guy. They work 4 days on, 4 days off. The other guy, he's in the army and he's in Europe right now, so I haven't got to talk to him or work with him at all. But then also with Interstate and just their awesomeness, their night dispatchers have actually helped me out a lot. Talk to any truck driver, they'll tell you that their night and weekend dispatch is a joke. They've been able to help me out big time. My fuel card got deactivated because it was activated out of orientation, but because of all that drama, it got deactivated just because it wasn't used. So I couldn't use it for anything. So whenever I had an expense, so we're talking a scale ticket, which I had a couple of, when I needed fuel, which I had to do a few times, and it wound up doing it. I needed those things after hours, and then with Memorial Day weekend. And they were able to help me out with that, which was awesome. The longest I've been on hold is like 5 minutes, which is amazing. When I was in Tacoma, I locked myself out of my truck. So I ended up calling the night dispatchers, and they came out personally and went into the shop and got me a key for my truck so I can get back in. And they were just, all smiles, happy about it. Then the next day, I'm waiting for a load. Actually, I'm going over a load at this point. I just received it. This load I'm on now in San Diego. So going over, kind of putting a plan together in my head, what I'm going to do. And then I get a knock on the door. It's the big boss guy who oversees all the refrigerated freight that Interstate moves. Everything goes through him. So he's definitely one of the bigger bosses, and he saw me out there, and he realized he had just put the plan together for me. He's like, oh yeah, this is a new guy. I'm going to go introduce myself. And he just, he told me his role, what he does. And then he asked me, is that how you liking it here? How is your orientation down in Fontana? I haven't, gotten to check in on that in a while, blah, 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 blah. And I told him how I felt. And honestly, I'm happy to be here. The people are awesome. I'm already on a first name basis with a couple drivers I've ran into at a couple different terminals. Their facilities are, it's kind of hard. I can't give a fair assessment of Schneider because they've been in the process of shutting down the Fontana terminal the entire time I worked there. But when I first got there for orientation, when it was still basically in full swing, it is competitive with Schneider, but I'd say it's a little bit better, just because they had more. They have a kitchen, not in their Fontana terminal, unfortunately, but in Tacoma. But it's more like a miniature restaurant. Still got to pay, but for what you get, the prices are very affordable. They have like 10 showers, something silly like that, where they have a cleaning staff, keeping them clean throughout the day. The showers are amazing, but they're in Washington, so they have all the water in the world. So the shower heads are massive. It's an experience. Trying to think what else. And so far they've kept me busy. That was kind of a little bit of a fear of mine coming back to this over the road stuff, was sitting. I have not sat. I have not had time to sit since I've started working. They've kept me going. At first they put me in a rental car and had me go pick up an abandoned truck. The guy was a Raiders fan. And he left his truck. Like he's got his paperwork in there from his previous load. He had his bedding in there. He had some cigarettes that he hadn't smoked yet in there. And then, of course, his food, which the truck stank, which wasn't much fun. The air conditioning didn't work either, and it was hot up in French Camp where the truck was. So other than that, but that's something, can't really hold him against it. The truck they have me in, it's awesome. The only thing, it's basically perfect. The only thing not perfect about it is it doesn't have a APU or one of those air conditioning units that a lot of trucks have, where I can have air moving around without having to idle. And then with the whole idling thing, when I've chosen to idle, which has been most of the time so far actually, I can't figure out how to get it to stay idling all night. I've talked to a couple different guys. They all have their different suggestions. None of them have worked. What they told us to do in orientation is not working on my truck. So that sucks. Not the end of the world when I go home in possibly later today. I'll be getting a fan. So just to have air moving around, that will help, and it'll kill any the big desire to idle. Um, I thought I'd be doing the 48 states. I'm only doing the Western 11, which it's cool. It's still miles, puts me closer to home for a situation where if I need to get home, like for a funeral or if some family members like life or death, medical situation. I'm always, a couple days, hours permitting, of course, from being home. So can't complain. I'm pretty stoked here. I can have passengers and pets immediately. The pet idea, a lot of you guys know me in real life know I really want to take a dog with me. That is on hold right now because we move a lot of product for a lot of meat. I want to be vague because not a good idea to give customers away. In this particular place, they don't allow, if you have a pet in your truck, they turn you away. And because I don't have my hazmat endorsement, I'm already somewhat limited to customers that I can, freight that I can move. I don't want to be limited anymore. I was talking to a driver about how he has a pet, but he still gets away hauling this company's product. So it's tempting. I'm not going to do it right now, just being the new guy. And not a smart choice. But it's kind of all I got. They pay employees to wash trucks. They have their own guys at their major terminals, which Fontana, where I'm out of, is one of their larger terminals. And so my truck will be washed without any money out of my pocket, which is awesome. Something I'm very happy about. I love a clean truck. Just at Schneider, they'd only pay for a wash once every so often. My time with Knight, even though it's just training, they just said have fun or have put in a request for it to be done by mobile wash people, and I didn't hear really anything positive about those guys, the quality of their work. So the fact that these guys have their own, permanent building that that I would drive the truck into, and they have all the equipment in there to wash the truck like a truck wash does, and then seeing the trucks around, like these guys do a good job. So I'm excited about that. I love a clean truck. I'll eventually make a video once I get everything settled. My truck right now is a mess. A couple of you guys can attest to that who saw me when I stopped in Seal Beach for the night last night. Can attest to the mess that it is. So once it's cleaned up and I have it more organized, I'll make a video of the truck for sure. That's really all I got. I'm just hanging out a customer, letting them unload. This is awesome because when I was at Schneider, I was the one doing that. I don't miss the unloading part one bit. I miss Schneider a little bit. The people that, everything there was cool. It's just that I had to unload the freight and deal with grumpy, unhappy people. But, that's it. But so far, everything here has been awesome. I really don't have any complaints. I got one person from Schneider, got him coming over to Interstate because he lives up in Washington. He has to commute to Portland for when he gets his truck and he goes out on the road, but he lives within a few minutes of Interstate's Tacoma terminal. So that's just a better situation for him. And now I'm actually making more money than him per mile. Oh, my lights just turned off. Cool. Then I have a friend from Knight. She's looking into Interstate enough that she called a recruiter. I don't know how that all went. So Charity, if you're watching this, let me know how your talk went with Kim. If you, assuming you got in touch with her, let me know. Cause I'm curious to see how that all went. So that's all I got. Gonna go check on these guys. They were making progress. They wanted to get me out of here ASAP, but I still don't know what I'm doing after this. If they're gonna drive me around for 4 more hours, if they're gonna just send me to Fontana and go home to, get ready for the funeral and go do that. So don't know, but yeah, that's all. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get back into the video thing. I'm hoping to make them more like a normal trucking vlog. I've talked about that before. I've already talked to the safety guy, what is cool and not cool about it, because there's, using electronic devices while driving, it's not, legal or safe in the wrong situation. So I've talked to him, what's okay, not okay, just that, like I said, I'd rather talk to you now, find out where the line is, then have to talk to you later because I crossed the line. And we had a good talk. So, about that. So, once I get my stuff organized so I could have the time to put them together, edit them and whatnot, I'll do that. Think that's it for now. Yeah, obviously if there's anything else to say, it'll be said in the next video. Sorry for this long rant and all the dead time, if you will, but yeah, that's all. Later.